Welcome back to our Money Talk series where we are having conversations about money that actually matter. Now, before we get into today's episode, just want to remind you of our tax filing checklist. This is a completely free resource for you that will help you get all of your files organized and ready for tax season. Taxes can be a very, very stressful time. And so this checklist is here for you to make sure that you are putting your best foot forward when preparing for your taxes. So make sure to head to our description to download. And without further ado, let's get into it. Today on the Unbreakable Business podcast, we are talking all about how to build wealth as business owners. April Stewart, who is a financial coach, joins us on the show to share with us strategies on how we can attain wealth as entrepreneurs. We talk about the key things you need to have in place before building wealth, tips on how to get started, and how to make money with your money. This episode is what you need to help you get one step closer to your money goals. Now let's get into it. Hello, April. Welcome to the Unbreakable Business podcast. I'm so grateful that you're here. How are we doing?
I'm good. I'm glad to be here. I'm excited for the conversation.
Yeah, I'm excited for us. Well, number one, for people to know your story, because number one, you are a seven-figure business owner. You have built wealth. And I think so many of us as business owners, we need to make this more of a priority. And so I'm really excited for you to just really share your wisdom and how can we just attain more wealth in our business. And so, yeah, thank you so much for being here. So the first thing I want to ask is, what is just starting off, what is one thing that we absolutely need to do today in order to set ourselves up to attain, like, for wealth in our business?
So I want to clarify first that I am a seven-figure net worth. I have a seven-figure net worth, so it's not
Okay.
necessarily seven figures in my business.
Yep.
So I actually built wealth using my 9 to 5, my corporate income.
Yeah.
So that's what I really teach around. And my clients today aren't only 9 to 5; they're also business owners. But basically, it's that aspect of using your income to build wealth, because a lot of times people
Mm.
think building wealth is reserved for invest, or what I would say is maybe trading or real estate investing or things like that, or being a business mogul.
Hmm.
But I believe in the power of using your income. Like, everyone can build wealth, so it's not
Yeah.
reserved for people that are just in certain categories. So that's what I really empower people to do.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that's such an important, and thank you for clarifying. I think that's so important still, is like, you can work with what you have in order to attain wealth. And so what would you say then is the one thing that business owners can start doing today to attain wealth?
So I would say one of the top things they need to do is manage their business income wisely.
Hmm.
So I think that a lot of times with business owners, a lot of ones that I've worked with, especially, they don't really have good insight into what their numbers are. So they either have an accountant who's managing things, or they're just kind of doing things, loosely, but they aren't really clear on what's really going on with their revenue. And then also just having a money management system in their business. So I think that's really important. That's really the key to knowing what your revenue are, your expenses, if you're even profitable in your business. A lot of times businesses aren't profitable because they aren't forward leaning and looking at their numbers. So I
I
think
love.
that's really important.
So it is really great that you have an accountant who's able to, just make sure that your numbers are aligned and is really looking over the finances of your business. But you, as the business owner, you need to make sure that you have a clear picture of your numbers and the revenue that you're generating. And so
Yes.
I want us to tap in more into just your own journey. So, can you just tell us, like, what led you in the journey to financial freedom and having a seven-figure net worth?
So I would say I grew up not being taught about money. So I would say maybe growing up, what I was taught was not what not to do with money, which
Hmm.
is an example as well, which is a lesson as well. So I think, you can learn from any experience you're in. But it was more so modeled for me what not to do with money. I didn't learn concepts about money. And as I went to college and left college and I was in my early career, I felt like I should have more to show for the money that I was making.
Hmm.
And I knew that, I think my burning question was, what is it that other people know about money, people that are winning financially? What do they know that I don't? So I
Hmm.
went on this big journey to study personal finance. So I began to, read the books, listen to the radio shows. I'm dating myself a bit. Back then it was more so radio shows and podcasts. But, and then eventually, the podcasts as that became more popular. But I just really devoured anything I could about personal finance, and I began to apply it to my life. And I soon became like the money the go-to person around my in my friends and family circle when it came to money, because I felt like what I was applying was working for me. I was getting results, so I was, enthusiastic to share it with them. And just over the years of applying what I was learning with money, I did things like, getting out of debt, building up emergency savings, and then increasing my investing. And that investing part, of course, is what's going to help you to build a wealth. So through consistently investing over time, that compound interest, that snowball of wealth, is what really helped me to achieve that 7 figure net worth in my finances.
Yeah. And so, a question I want to add to that is like, what are some of the challenges that you faced early on that has really shaped your money journey and just your money mindset overall today?
So one of the things that I think shaped my money and really, catapulted me into really wanting to get intentional about my money was when was, I would say, early after college. I actually was talking to home ownership by a couple of friends that were going to move in with me and help with the mortgage. But one by one, they both backed out.
Mm.
So, I thought I was, going to be moving in with a couple of friends to help. They both backed out. So I went forward, I bought the house. And then 2 weeks after buying the house, I bought my first car. You're not supposed to make any major purchases before a home. So I bought my car 2 weeks after buying the house. And then 2 weeks after that, I lost my job.
Mm.
So there I was, new homeowner, new car owner, no job. And I didn't come from a family with money, so I couldn't call up mom and dad for help. So I knew that I had to not only dig out myself out of that situation, but position myself to hopefully never be in a situation like that. So that's why I really began to study personal finances and get more intentional about my income, because what I realized is that it's, a lot of people focus on income and increasing their income, but more important than what your income is what you're doing with it. So,
Mm.
if you're wasting it, if you're squandering it, if you're not actually creating financial security for yourself, then, it's all for naught. So that one of the key things early on I had to learn was to make my money work for me and to actually begin to do more with my money than just earn it.
Yeah, and I love that you shared that of like a lot of it, like we need to take it a step further of like building that financial security in our business, because I think again to your point, a lot of us just naturally think I need to earn more income. That's building the financial security, and that's not necessarily true. And so can you give some examples of what building financial security, especially for you after you've lost your like 2 week like you lost your job, that's really stressful, and then working through that, like what did building up financial security look like for you?
So, what it looked like was really building out a secure financial foundation. So, a lot of times when we think wealth and all those things, we think investing and we think, all of our assets, which are great. Those things are very important. But without a secure financial foundation under it, um, you're really on shaky ground.
Mm.
So the key elements of your financial foundation is having, of course, starting with like right mindset and,
Mhm.
habits and behaviors around money, but that aspect of, having that budget or that spending plan, being intentional about how you're spending your money, debt elimination, like getting out of, high interest consumer debt, having emergency savings, and then having an investment strategy that you apply to your life that is based on your goals, your lifestyle, your needs, not what's hot and trending, not what everyone else is doing, but actually an investment strategy that's tailored towards your needs. So, just having those things in place is really going to secure your financial foundation. But I think again that the spending plan, the emergency savings, the debt posture is really important before you do some of the more advanced things like the investing and different types of investing.
I love that you addressed that of like, because I think a lot of us, especially like me as a business owner, that was something I have like my financial planner, and that was the thing that he told me similarly of like you have to like like I still have my student loans and stuff like that I'm still paying off. And so like he was like all of these things need to be taken care of before you can really have a really solid wealth strategy. And of course, like,
Mhm.
obviously saving for retirement and those different types of things, of course, but to build that wealth, that was the first thing of like me really eliminating that debt. So I really love that you addressed that of like, what does this having that financial security look like? Having a solid budget, really making sure that you're taking care of your debt and having emergency because life just happens. I
Mhm.
think what are your thoughts on budgeting? Because I think sometimes some of us can look at it as restrictive. Like for me, I have this mindset, which I'm still going to stick to it, is like if I need like, okay, I have a budget, but I'm always like, well, I'm just going to go make more income. Like, I'm just going to make more money.
Hmm.
Does budgeting have to be viewed as this really restrictive thing, or how can we really shape our mindset of it where it's still, where you don't have to feel like you're coming from a place of lack when setting up your budget?
Yeah, so I know a lot of times people are adverse to the word budget. So actually, with my clients, even though I don't have an issue with the word, but because of the clients I work with, they're high earners and they don't want to feel restricted. They don't want to feel like they're on a financial diet. So what we really talk about is their spending plan, because you're going to spend regardless. So it's just about
Mhm.
having that spending plan, being intentional about your spending, and actually being proactive about it, like planning out your spending, before the month starts. And I feel like we plan and we're proactive in every other area of our life. We believe in planning, but when it comes to our money, for some reason, it's like, taboo, or you don't want to do it. So I really want to, ground them around the idea of having a spending plan. And I think that, basically what that does is set you up to win for money. I call it your roadmap to wealth, or the tool for how you're going to use your money to navigate each month. And I think that really being intentional about what we do with our money month to month is what helps you to win with it. I mean, and
Mhm.
having the spending plan that I created when I started my financial journey back in 2008, every single month of my life since 2008, when I first started doing it, I've used a spending plan, and it's what really has made all the difference for me. It's what has helped me to be intentional about my money and to actually really optimize and maximize the use of my income. Whether it was corporately before and now as a self-employed business owner, and now doing it as well. Like, it's really helped to optimize the use of my income.
Yeah, I like that angle too, of like a spending plan of just like you're going to spend money regardless. So
Hmm.
now you're just being a lot more intentional where every single dollar is going. And now you know where every single dollar is going. So you feel more confident in just managing your finances in general. And
Yeah.
it really allows you to really forecast as well, as a
Hmm.
business owner when you are really laying down and creating that spending plan or budget. And so I think that's such a great way to look at it, to where, again, like, you don't feel like you're having to be restrictive. Because I feel like if you feel like you're being restrictive, then it can really lean into that mindset that you feel like you're coming from a place of lack. And so I like that, where it's just, again, a different angle, a different perspective to look at it as like, this is a spending plan of you just being aware of where all of your dollars are going, which, similarly to like the point that you said earlier, of that, like, a lot of us as business owners, we just don't know essentially a lot. Like, we don't have the knowledge to know where our dollars are going. So I think that's
Yeah.
just such a good, really great and solid foundation for business owners. And so, found this study where it says 77% of American households have some type of debt, average nearly about 67,000. And so for business owners that are like, okay, I want to build wealth, I want to start moving forward, but also too, I have debt to pay off, or I have other expenses, right? Like, how do we balance it of like paying down our debt while also building wealth?
I think that it's a both. I mean, of course, both can be done. I think it's a matter of prioritization and being strategic and intentional about it. So I do believe that high income consumer debt, not high income, excuse me, high interest consumer debt, or just consumer debt in general, I
Mhm.
do definitely do think that needs to be addressed before you're really positioned for wealth building. So when you think about building wealth, really what it boils down to, and I think it's a simple equation that people should keep in mind, is that it's about your net worth.
Mhm.
So, you being a millionaire is not about you running $1 million business. It's not about you necessarily having $1 million sitting in the bank. It's about you having $1 million net worth.
Mhm.
So your net worth is your assets minus your liabilities. So that's everything you own, versus mine is everything you owe. So when you look at that, that debt is going to fall in the liability, or the thing you owe category. So, I call it, don't build with one hand and tear down with the other. So,
Mhm.
you could be building and building up these assets, but then you can have all this debt, whereas you're not really moving the needle with your net worth,
Mhm.
because all this debt is being subtracted from all the good you're doing in building up assets. So I think it's important. Your debt posture is definitely important. So I think to address that, to take care of that first, really frees up your income to build that even more. So, you can throw more at investing. You can, invest more in your business. You could, diversify your income and, do other things outside of your main business if you want. But when all your income is tied up in debt payments, it makes it really hard for you to really use it at its full potential to build wealth.
I love that. I think that's such a really great perspective of like, especially like what you're using to build up, don't use the other hand to tear it down. And I
Hmm.
think a lot of us, like for me, I want the quick results now, and like it takes time. And I think
Hmm.
that's such a good reminder of like, it's okay if this is where, especially as business owners, like it's okay right now if you are paying your debt and just making a living, right? Like that's more than okay if you're not there yet. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think
Hmm.
that's just a really great reminder that your journey is your journey. And
Hmm.
so, if you're able to make a little bit of progress day by day, it's really going to propel you forward in the long run, and right, that sustainability piece, and want to make sure that your business is here for tomorrow, but also too, then you can have eventually have more income to free up to build the wealth.
Yeah.
And so I'm really curious to know, because you've already talked about it a little bit, but so for business owners, they're like, okay, great, great. I already have my debt like paid off. I'm Gucci. Now I really want to know what it take, like what are some of the steps that I can take to really start building wealth for myself. I know, like per se for me, I know like some simple ones as like, high yield savings account, like those small types of things. But what are some other things that business owners can do to really start building wealth?
So I think that there are things. So high yield savings account, I would say those are more so for saving. I mean, now the interest rates are great, so they do, to a degree, they give you a higher return than they traditionally have. I know when I first opened mine, and that like nowadays that the interest rate, or currently the interest rate is 4% plus for
Hmm.
most, but back when I first opened mine, it was less than 1%. So
Mm,
the high yield interest, excuse me, the high yield savings account is not necessarily a place I would look at for building wealth. I more so look at that as you savings you want to set aside if it's
mm,
for emergency. Even in your business, there are different accounts you need to have set aside,
yes.
like for your taxes, things like that. So okay, that money needs to be sitting for those purposes. Why not put in a high yield savings? So I think that's great for those things. But in terms of building wealth, it is going to be those investing accounts.
Mm,
So, and I think the first place you need to start is taking care of your retirement, like we're securing that.
mm,
So that's the first place I like to see people invest, and that's I know maybe some of your audience may do this on the side, so they may have a job. So making sure you're taking advantage of your employer based retirement account, any matches they give you, any things like that, even your health savings account, things like that, those benefits that you have to be tax shelters around your money. And then for your self employed people, when you get to that point, and I'll be honest, and I think you mentioned in the previous question, we were talking about how things may look different, a little different from you as a business owner or full-time business owner versus, an employee. So the way that invested for retirement was different when I was an employee. Now that I'm a business owner, like it's not the resources aren't always there to consistently invest as it was before. So
mhm.
I think as business owners, we give ourselves grace, and as our businesses continue to grow, then maybe those things can be more consistent. But if you're able to start, if you do have that surplus where everything is healthy in your business financially otherwise, and you do have that surplus to invest, then I would say yes, definitely setting up a retirement account in your business, for your business, or for you as a business owner, is definitely very important. And then also, for some people, when you get past that, I would say retirement place where if you're fully on track for retirement, then you can get into other types of investing. But I really think that, people, skip over, and I don't know if you ever saw that meme where it shows a person they were taking their foot past all these initial steps to take that higher step,
Mhm.
where they were, skipping over a bunch of, more important steps or more fundamental steps to get to, some of the quote unquote advanced stuff like, um, trading options and
Mm.
all these other things, what they, were stepping over, just setting up themselves up for retirement.
Mm.
Because, we're all going to get there if we're fortunate enough to live. So you definitely want to
Yes.
make sure that's taken care of.
Yeah. Okay. So then, in terms of retirement, what are some retirement accounts that business owners can look into?
So mostly people either choose between like a solo 401k
Mhm.
or a SEP RA, which is like a simplified, guys, I'm drawing a blank on the acronym, but simplified employee program or something like that. But it's basically an account where both of the accounts, they operate pretty similarly,
Mhm.
but both of them allow you to put away money in retirement. One is, I think if you have an employees as well, then a SEP is what you'd have to use. So a solo one 401k, I think it's just generally if it's for yourself. And then, but both of them, help you to put away money. I mean, it's different amounts. So I think your SEP is capped at what the IRS limit is, but as your 401k, you can, and this is, again, this is something you would talk with a financial advisor or someone about.
Yes.
So
Yep.
this is not, what I do, but I just know as a business owner, some of the ways they work. But with the 401k, that's something where you could put aside money as an individual, plus also put aside money for yourself as a business owner. So you actually could put away more in a 401k. So it just depends on what your goals are, like how much you actually have to invest. If you want to, if you have a lot that you want to invest, you could put away more or save more in a 401k versus the SEP. And then also, one is, I think the SEP has less like administration and reporting requirements versus the other. So if you want a more simplified and, you don't want to have to report as much and, all the administration. So it's just a matter of weighing them both. But those are the two most popular ones that self-employed business owners use.
Yeah, and so I wanted to ask as well, just for clear, just from my understanding, like Roth IRA, is that
Mm.
that's under a 401k, right? Like a self.
No. Okay.
No,
So
that's
that's a
different.
good point. So that's a third one.
Yep.
So yeah.
Okay.
And okay. So Roth IRA is basically that's allowing you to it's a program anyone can use, but you have to be under a certain income.
Mhm.
So I think for individuals now, the Roth IRA income limit it's roughly you get to a point where as an individual you have to hit this income and then you start to phase out. But I think the minimum income you have to be at is around 115 or so.
Mhm. Mhm.
So which a lot for quite honestly for a lot of business owners
Mhm.
that tends to be applicable because if you look at the actual income you're taking home,
Mhm.
that's different than what's in your business. So if you look at what you're actually taking home, a lot of times, self-employed persons are able to take advantage of a Roth IRA, and
Mhm.
that just helps you to set aside your money, basically tax free where it grows.
Mhm.
And then when you take you pay it up front, and then when you take it out in the future at retirement age, then it's already been taxed. You get to take it out, with nothing else additionally taken out of it. Um, and that's another thing, not to get too complicated, but with the 401k, if you do set that up for your business, there's actually a Roth 401k option as well. So
Mhm.
we have that in corporate, but then also as a business owner, you could
Mhm.
do some Roth 401k investing, which basically just means you pay the taxes up front now, and
Mhm.
then when you take the money out in the future, retirement age, you're no longer paying taxes on it. You've already paid it. So a lot of people, find a mix to be good, and I actually
Mhm.
did a mix in my corporate. I did. I wasn't eligible for a Roth IRA because my income was too high, but
Mhm.
I was able to do a Roth 401k.
Mhm.
My company offered that, and I did both traditional 401k and Roth 401k. So I had a mix of money that was, taxes already taken out, and in the future I take, I withdraw it tax free, and then now I didn't pay any taxes on it, but in the future I pay taxes.
Mhm.
So sometimes it's good to have that mix.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I love that you just shared. And again, of course, right? Like going to like somebody and has the expertise in that area. But I love that you still just laid out the options of like just to highlight number one that there's more than one way to do this. It really just depends on your goals. Your like obviously to knowing your business, knowing your numbers well to really see of which one aligns for you. And I think the point is too for business owners, like if you are at that point, really make the time. Like when we're talking about finances and stuff like this, like like none of this is sexy. It's not enjoyable. Like you know what I mean? But it's key, right? Especially if you're
Yeah.
like, I want to build that generational wealth. I want to be able to have a life that I'm comfortable with. Like we have to look at these things. And so I think if anything as well, like just all the options that you shared and just everything that you shared today is like really take that time, put that time aside as a business owner. Weekly. Like for me, I have my finance days where I look at
Mhm.
everything a lot deeper. Like I check my bank account every day, but I have like my finance day once a week where I'm actually looking to make that time because as my accountant is educating me, I need to make sure that I understand because like at the end of the day, it's not his business, it's mine. And so like I
Mhm.
need to be able to make sure that I'm equipped and that I care, right? Because sometimes we can just be like, well, somebody else deals with it. I don't want to know the numbers and this and
Right.
that. But I
I
just loved
always,
what you
yeah.
shared. Yeah.
Yeah, and I always love to say you're your money person. So a
Mm,
lot of people think, oh, I have a money person. yeah, you may have people that work on your finances, but ultimately you're your money person. Like the bucks, starts and stops with you. So
Mm-hmm.
you definitely want to be educated, knowledgeable about it. I mean, you don't necessarily have to be an expert on it. Your financial advisor, if you have one that's helping you invest, of course they're going to be maybe more of an expert in that area, but they should also ideally have the heart of a teacher, and they should teach you
Mm.
about what they're doing, why they're investing certain ways. You should be involved in it, not just, hands off, letting someone else make all the decisions with your money.
Yeah, 1000%. I love that you added to that. And so obviously we have retirement, right? Like creating retirement accounts, that's another option. I know you mentioned earlier some diversifying your revenue streams. And I think a lot of business owners, many of us are exploring that right now. I have seen that become more popular. And so for business solopreneurs, what are some good revenue streams that maybe business owners aren't thinking of that could be a good viable option for them in terms of building wealth?
So it really is going to vary based on your talents, your risk tolerance, like what you want to do. I mean, like some people like to diversify with real estate.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I want to be honest in saying a lot of times people think it can be passive. I don't think real estate
Mm-mm.
is passive at all. I feel like if you want passive real estate, the only way you're really going to get that is with a REIT. So
Mm,
that's a REIT, which is a way to invest in real estate, like through the stock market.
mm,
So you're investing in real estate, but it's more so in the stock market, but it's not hands-on
mhm.
properties. But yeah, so definitely things like that. If you want to actually, get properties and things like that, real estate is a way people that like to diversify. But then also, if you can think of ways of diversifying your income streams in your business, I personally believe in, getting really good and profitable at one stream in your business first. I think a lot of times with this, but then also with personal finance and other things we do in life, I feel like we stretch ourselves too thin. Like we like to have our hands in a million different pots,
Mhm.
which like really, I would say weakens or it decreases like the effectiveness of things. So I feel
Mm,
like the most effective you're going to be is when you're focused and intense on
mhm.
one particular thing. So, but if you're in a place where you have this stream of income and you feel like you're really solid in and profitable in it, then you can start to think of other ways to diversify the use of your knowledge, your expertise, your skill sets in
Yeah.
your business.
Yeah, I think just to add to that, that I think a way to of like you just pointed it out of like really looking at your skills of like with the things that you like to do. I know a couple business owners that have started to lean into real estate, but a lot of I haven't met enough. Like you know what I mean. I haven't met a lot, but I know a lot of business owners are leaning. Like for me, like another diversified revenue stream is for me is getting paid to speak. That
Hmm.
has now starting to become a revenue stream that has been great. People don't know this about me, but I do voiceover ads. I do a lot. Like that has
Nice.
now turned into another revenue stream for me that I have leaned into also as well. Like I think courses. I know obviously like I'm getting ready to launch my first
Hmm.
course. So I think, but to your point, it's like you have to take your time which with each one. Like I did not start doing all these at the same time.
Right.
It's like the voiceover ad came over unexpectedly and has become a really fun source of revenue for me. But I think again, like really I think it just goes to the point of like working with what you have. Like you don't have to start from scratch. Like you don't have to start from scratch. And if you want to, you can. But my point is like you have skills and talents. And I just created a new service that I literally did for fun as a beta that has now turned into a new service for my business that I didn't even think was going to be one. So
Yeah.
I think in terms of like when you're trying to figure out you're diversifying your revenue streams, I like it's like you're exploring, you're truly
Hmm.
exploring, and then like revenue streams can just pop up and you may not even been looking for it. And then obviously
Yeah.
yeah, like,
I was
but
going
to
to
your
touch on
point,
that. Yeah.
I do like what you're saying of like really taking the time to really hone in on each one because the purpose of it is to generate income. So if you just have all these multiple streams and then like you're not pouring into it to where it can really lead to something huge where it can actually really generate a lot of income for you, then you may need to go back and like take some time and like, how can I really refine this specific one until it gets to the point that I need it to get to so then I can move to the next one.
Yeah. Because otherwise, it's just a bunch of hobbies.
Yes.
Um,
Yep.
and I was another thing I thought of when you were talking was that also it can be born out of what the market is asking you for. So
Mm,
my expertise and where I started out is with personal finance
mm,
because I really wanted to reach back to the person that was me in the corporate space
mm,
and they were making good money but they just weren't optimizing the use of their income. They weren't actually building wealth with their income. They were
mm,
just spending it, enjoying life, which you can do, but you can
mhm,
also set up a money plan, a money system, a money foundation to also help you to increase your wealth as you're enjoying your life. But now I find that what I'm kind of being called into is business finances to a degree, but it's in the sense of not doing like bookkeeping or accounting or anything, but it's in the sense of helping people to set up like a system around their money. So
Mm,
just the way I've helped people to set up systems around their personal finances, it's, are you, do you have a business budget? Are
mhm,
you, setting aside your profit, your taxes? Are you making sure your expenses are taken care of, making sure you're able to pay yourself? Like a lot of times people in business, they don't have all those things in place to make sure their business is running optimally. So
mhm,
that's another stream that has kind of come out unexpectedly because I wasn't, planning to do anything around business finances, but it kept coming up.
mhm.
I've been asked to speak on it. I've been asked to help people with their business system. So yeah, sometimes you can see what the market is asking you for.
Yeah, I love that. That's such a good point too of like leaning into your audience and like seeing what again of like what you can provide because we don't think about that. So I love that you shared that. That's such a good point of like think of questions that you're commonly asked from your audience, right? Like think of past clients that you've worked with that have hired you
Hmm.
for one service, but what were other things that they needed that you can now potentially provide, right? That's more money
Yes,
that you're keeping in your pocket, right? And if they don't have to go seek somebody
absolutely.
else to go to get whatever it is that they're looking for, additional things that they're looking for. So I love that. That's a really, really good point. This conversation has been so impactful. I think many of us as business owners, I feel like wealth is attainable. And, I think it's just a point of like staying in your own lane, really focusing on your own journey, knowing your numbers and understanding
Mhm.
where your every single dollar that you're making, every single penny that you're making, where it's going in your business and really taking the time to understand your goals, your values, what is it that you want out of life to really determine your wealth journey, like building that wealth. And so is there anything else that you want to share with business owners today in terms of building wealth?
So I would just say, start where you are. Like nothing is too simple, nothing is too small.
Mm,
So just really look at your overall financial picture. Where do you need strength? Do you need to get expenses under control? Do you need to increase revenue? Do you need to, take care of debt? Do you need to build up cash reserves in your business, or even invest? Like, are you actually doing anything in terms of retirement investing or future investing? So
mhm,
just kind of look at that area that you most need help, and seek out help if you need it. And then where possibly I support people mostly is around the personal finance aspect, or just kind of setting up business management systems. But yeah, just I would say or business, income management systems. But yeah, I would say just look at what you need, and, just kind of focus on that area first, seek help, and then, grow from there. So I would say nothing is too small, even if you invest a little bit.
mhm,
If you have a little bit to put aside, that's better than nothing. And the thing with investing is that you want to invest early and often. So of course,
mhm.
for the younger business owners, if you can start investing now and let compound interest do all the work for you over the years, that's really great. But regardless, I even talk to people that are in their 40s and they feel like it's too late. It's never too late. It's better than getting to 65 or 67 and having done nothing. So
Mhm.
I really encourage you to just start wherever you are.
Yeah, I love that. Just start wherever you are. And I think a lot of us, if we're thinking of like, well, I have all this debt and this and that, what you said earlier, like you can start these things. So like it doesn't have to be this big thing. Like you can start small with whatever you have to start investing. I think that's just such an important thing. And it's never too late to do those things. So I think that's the perfect way just to get people encouraged and hopefully excited about building more wealth and just getting on better track with their
Hmm.
finances because finances just aren't sexy. It's not. I mean, I think so when you're making money, but everything. But
Yeah,
it's like
no.
stressful to build it. You know what I mean? It absolutely can be. So yeah.
But I think that it doesn't have to be. And I think the stress comes from a lack of clarity and insight.
Mm,
So I have someone I'm working with, and she's because with business owners, of course, income and cash flow could be irregular.
hmm
But the thing is, if you have systems in place, no matter when it comes in, and if you know your when your revenue is coming, if you know your expenses and all those things, you can plan for the irregularity of how cash flow kind of moves through businesses. So I think it really all comes down to having a plan, having a money plan.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so on the show we do rapid fire questions,
Okay.
and so we have a couple here for you. So when it comes to wealth, do you think mindset or strategy is more important?
Um, I got to start with mindset. I think
Mm,
mindset,
okay.
because
Uh,
they shape habits and behaviors, and I think those are the most important things.
yes, 1000%. I love that. Okay, favorite book about money.
Um, I would say The Millionaire Next Door. That was,
Mm.
and I feel like it's really a big money mindset book. So it helped me to, and really have a clear understanding of what building wealth looked like, what it meant, who were the people building wealth. Like it's not, the people that you think of as celebrities and all those type of things. It's a lot of times the person next door.
Yes. Okay, love that. All right. What is the number one piece of advice you have ever received about money?
Um, Actually, one of the greatest ones was to pay off my mortgage early, and it's
Mm.
counter to culture.
Mhm.
Um, and I've had people actually argued with me when I was at corporate, as my coworkers, that it wasn't a good idea. But I'm so glad I did it. I'm so glad that I accelerated my payments and paid it off early, because now, as a business owner, not having that mortgage just gives me so much freedom, in my
Yes.
business.
Oh, love that. Okay, that's such a good one. Okay. Is there any financial advice that you think is outdated?
Outdated. Quite honestly, the debt stuff, like, and I
Mm.
mean, I don't know if outdated, but I just think it's not honest, or it's not, really telling the full story. So leverage this and leverage that. And I just feel like, debt is debt, whether it's, quote unquote good debt or not. At the end of the day, the way you feel with and the way you feel under it, people aren't honest about that.
Mm.
It does pay a price. It does, carry a toll. So
I love that. Debt is debt, regardless. Oh, that's a good one.
mhm.
Okay. So if you were given an extra $10,000 tomorrow, how are you spending or investing it? Like, what are the steps that you would do with that $10,000?
um, I would probably put it in two places. There's some coaching I need in my business. So there's some coaching I've been thinking about getting. So I would invest in my business around that, and then I also would build up my cash reserves. So
Mm.
I, because you have to have cash reserves both personally and for your business.
Mhm.
So I'm still working on that. So I would, increase my cash reserves or my savings. A
Yeah.
fancy way of saying your savings.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, cool. Should people focus more on increasing their income or cutting their expenses if they want to build wealth?
It's definitely, if you're gonna pick, it's gonna definitely be income. They're
Mm,
both important, but you can only decrease your expenses so much. But
mhm.
build it in, earning income. I think I said, hopefully I said that. But yes, earning income is, really is what's going to help you to, uh, build your wealth.
Yeah. Okay. And last one. What's your favorite way to celebrate a financial win, big or small?
I need to do better with celebrating, but I would say right now it's probably doing something like a spa day or
Mm.
something. I don't do anything too fancy. But yeah, good massage,
I mean, I love a good
mani
massage.
pedi, yes.
Yes. I mean, I'll take it. So I love a good massage. I'll just be like knocked out. So love that. Okay. So a question that we like to ask at the end of each conversation is, what does having an unbreakable business mean to you?
I would say a business that is sound, of course, so financially sound,
Mhm.
in this case. And I think that's a key differentiator, whether you're going to be around for the long term. Like, you have to pay attention to the finances and the numbers. All those other things are great, the talent, the skills, all of that, but the numbers matter as well. And that's the main reason people go out of business, is because it's not they don't manage their finances well, and it's not a financially sound business. So that's
Yes.
what makes it unbreakable.
Makes it unbreakable. I love that. Yes, that's such a good point of like the talent, the skills are there, but you need to know your numbers. You need to be able to look at that data because your numbers are telling you a story. And so whether you receive it or not, it's still telling you the necessary information that you
Hmm.
need to be able to have a successful business. So, April, thank you so much for coming on the show. It has been such an amazing conversation. I definitely am like, all right, I still got more work to do, but it inspires me. Like, I'm excited. And I hope if you're listening, you feel the same way too of like, okay, this is still attainable. I'm just going to keep moving forward, working with what I have and really getting the people to be able to teach me, to give me that support. And so if you're listening, I hope you feel the same way as well. So for people that want to connect with you, how can we support you?
So I hang out mostly on Instagram. So I'm at April the Money Coach on Instagram. And actually, if you go to my link on the bio there, I have a complimentary millionaire money checklist that will step through all the areas of building your financial foundation.
Mm,
Just kind of help you, think through, do I have these things in place or not? And it's just kind of checklist to help you
Yeah.
know what to have in place for a financial foundation that's going to help your money make money. So,
Yes.
yeah, you can grab me. I mean, you can find me there.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll put that resource too in the show notes, everybody, so that you guys can be able to download that. So, April, thank you so much for being here today and for everybody
Thank you.
listening. Until next time. Thank you so much for tapping in today's episode on the Unbreakable Business podcast. And if you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to like and subscribe. Do not forget to download our free tax filing checklist to help you get prepared and organized for tax season. And I will see you next time.